Hello people of the earth and welcome back to QuickSaveTV. My name is Mike and this is our analysis of update 16 for State of Decay 2. I fully understand that there have been a lot of videos about that topic. Some of them are really good, some of them not so good, but I want to add into the pile, and I'm going to discuss the things that I think are prudent and interesting from my perspective, and try to ignore some of the things that I think are not interesting, some of the things that are not very prudent to discuss. Without further ado, let's go. So in this update, they are adding, they are changing a lot of stuff, and it shifts the balance of the game quite a lot. They're adding a new weapon pack, items pack actually, which is the pawn shop pack, which is really cool, really interesting, and they are focusing on a couple of things as they say before, and some of these fixes are very cool. So they try to fix the error 3 disconnects, which you could get literally anytime you play multiplayer game. You could get rammed by your friend, sounds wrong, I mean with a car. You could get slightly far away from your friend while being in a car. You could do pretty much anything and get disconnected, which was really sad. It was also really happening really often when you were driving a car. I hope some of these errors will be fixed. Even if 3 of these issues are fixed, even if it's fixed like half the time it's happening, it's already a great upgrade. So they increased the weapon durability and they doubled a lot of the values, and that makes the game economy quite tricky, and I'll talk about it in just a moment. So Juggernauts now are significantly nerfed. Right? That's really cool because I hated fighting them, and I was always arguing that you should skip Juggernauts when you can. Now you don't have to. Infestations do not recreate as often when you destroy one, which is kind of cool, I like that. Now, irritable characters are much less annoying to deal with, and the ability to stealthy kill a horde is now back in the game, just like in State of Decay 1. So let's go step by step. They've added quite a lot of items in Pawn Shop Pack. I'll just say a couple of words about them. So PPQ-45 is totally fine. It depends on the stats of the items. I haven't seen them, so I don't really know. It's just another pistol in 45 caliber. 45 caliber is not necessarily the easiest caliber to come by, so I think it's kind of it occupies a niche that is kind of not good, because .45 is at the top of the spectrum of rarity of pistol rounds. The better rounds to use are .22 caliber and 9mm rounds, because they're more easy to find and they're easier to craft. G45 uses 9mm, so this is a much better pistol. Hunter SKS is a cool rifle. Question here is why would you use it? Because, I mean, it's a 7.62 rifle, it's not really practical. It looks really cool, absolutely. It would be a great item for your companions which defend the base, your survivors who defend the base. But otherwise, you know, non-compliant SKS is complete sack of shit. I'll say it right away. I think it's a useless rifle. I'm not sure why it exists in the game. It's a much better option to use a modified Kalashnikov variation in the game than to use this non-compliant SKS. In what they've demonstrated so far, I haven't unlocked it myself, but what they've demonstrated so far, it's a rifle that has huge recoil, and it's difficult to control, and it doesn't really offer much as opposed to just using a good assault rifle. Now, Wormling. Beautiful dagger with dragon design. I'm a huge fan of that. And the Wyvern is a great blade with, again, a great dragon design. Guandao is a very short glaive, but again, it looks really cool. I'm a big fan of all of the melee weapons they've added this time. They're very unusual, very cool, but I'm a little bit disappointed that they did not add any blunt weapons, because I really like those. Okay, so that's very good. That's very nice. They will remove a critical response pack in update 17, which is nice. We still have 1 more month to use it and unlock the benefits of it. And I don't mean use it. We can use it forever as long as you have the items. But it's easier to procure them from the bounty hunter than it is to actually carry them with you at all times, which is kind of difficult. So in multiplayer, yeah, they fixed the disconnect, which is really nice, or at least they fixed it to a better state than it was before, even if they didn't completely do that. Now, weapons and mods, and that's a very interesting thing. So let's go talk a little bit about it. So, they've doubled the durability of all ranged and melee weapons. What that means to you is that you will not have to repair your weapons as often, and to repair them you will need double the materials, which is, it creates an interesting situation. So you have to repair weapons less frequently, which is really nice for weapons on a very low end of the spectrum. This means pistols that I called trash before, such as PPK, which was absolute garbage, and some of the stuff that wasn't useful, like kitchen knives, now can be used to great effect. It also means that the strategy of taking a weapon, using it until it breaks, and selling it to a merchant is even better now. So the game actively rewards you for cycling through items now, because it is frankly cheaper to buy a shitty weapon or to find a shitty weapon, use it till it breaks, sell it, and just use another weapon. It is not as beneficial now to use the same weapon and repair it, because, okay, even though they doubled the amount of parts that you salvage from weapons, it's still, look, repairing in this game is quite difficult because parts are very, very rare at higher difficulties in the game. There are good ways to procure them, sure, but overall, using parts to repair is a very expensive endeavor. And yeah, they repaired all weapons to use it. So this is a very, very, very strange change. It doesn't do, for me, it doesn't accomplish what they want to accomplish, because it doesn't make the game any more realistic or more enjoyable, because it just changes the meta of the game. And I think the meta shift now is even more in favor of use a weapon until it breaks, sell it to another guy. Because remember, when you sell a broken weapon to a merchant, the influence cost does not deteriorate. So it's the same influence cost if it was brand new or if it's destroyed. You have to remember that. It's very different when you salvage it. When you salvage a broken weapon, you get less parts, so that sucks. But selling it gives you the same amount of money, the same amount of influence. Now, so they, so they say that they, so they are buffing all other attachments except for suppressors, because suppressors they've buffed before, because they reverted the nerf from before. Suppressors right now are really king, there's no question about that. Suppressors make it so that your gun does not lose any of its damage, and your gun remains a very quiet solution to kill zombies, and it's very, very nice, it's very, very powerful. And now they're making other weapon mods really strong, and I agree with that, no questions asked. I really like the changes they do for their muzzle brakes and for chokes. So muzzle brakes do not increase weapon noise anymore, which is really nice. Before it was a big pain in the ass, because when you use the muzzle brake, you essentially announce to the world that you have a death wish, okay? Because the more noise you make, the more zombies come down your neck, and that sucks. That really sucks. Now it doesn't happen anymore. So, as loud as the gun was before, that's how loud it will be when you attach a muzzle brake. Now, brakes also improve weapon durability, and that's interesting, because it further solidifies... well, actually, it supports any playstyle, but it also really supports the thing I suggested you before, and they effectively grant you 100% more shots from the advanced brakes. And this is... excuse me, I woke up an hour ago. This is insane, right? So what does it mean, right? Do the math. Before, the weapon durability was 100%, okay? So it gave you, let's say, 100 shots. That's very, very, that's very liberal, but let's say 100 shots. They doubled it. So it gives you now 200 shots by default, right? Before it breaks. Cool. This thing increases 100%, gives you 100% more shots. From 200, you go into 400 territory, right? Think about it. And that's without counting the skills, right? So if you have weapon handling, right? That's how it's called? Yeah, if you have weapon handling, you have another 25%. Now, depending on whether or not it's multiplicative or additive, let's say it's additive. Alright, cool, you get 50 more shots. So it's 450 shots before a gun breaks. Insane. If it's multiplicative, it's gonna be even more, right? So we're talking about, let me calculate real quick, we have 100. Now it's doubled. Good. Now we're getting 100% more. Very good. Now we're getting 25% more from this thing. So a total of 500 if it's multiplicative. It's insane. It's insane. You will scarcely ever repair your guns now. This means that bolt-action rifles, what I said before in my tutorial videos, are not as strong anymore. You don't really care, because by the time you need a new gun, you can usually find one, and bolt actions are no longer dominating the field, and this is really, really interesting. This is really, really interesting. So essentially, this changes, they nerf bolt-action rifles, and I'm not sure why you would do that. It's a strange change, but it's a change nonetheless. Now, brakes also improve control even more. Yeah, that's cool. So that's a buff when we think about killing Juggernauts, but yeah, sure. Now, so they also buff chokes. They increase range dramatically, with advanced chokes giving you 150% range increase, which is insane for shotguns. You can fire them at long range now. Now, chokes also grant increase in power, 30% for advanced. Jesus, that's a lot of power. Shotguns already hit really hard, and now they're going to be obliterating both Juggernauts and Plague cards. Now, interesting. They had fixed a bug with chokes. I'm not going to cover that in great detail. Okay, so they rebalanced heavy weapons. Most of them became lighter. And they increased in durability, which is interesting. So they got increased impact. They got increased or changed additional effects. So yeah, so I thought so far that heavy weapons have been really underwhelming, and now I really want to try them again and see what really changed. I didn't have an opportunity yet, so I'm just looking at it from the perspective of the returning player, so to speak. So now, okay, so this is interesting. This is interesting, and I feel like an idiot. So Juggernauts. Okay. I feel that I've done a really bad job because I didn't test the difference between a .22 caliber and 7.62 caliber when killing zombies, when killing Juggernauts specifically. And it turns out that there was a bug in the game that made it so that no matter what caliber you used, except for 50 caliber, the damage was the same to Juggernauts. And Juggernauts had this nasty thing when they were in their stagger behavior, essentially stepping back a little bit, you couldn't hurt them no more. And that was a big pain in the ass because I didn't even know that was the fact. So I kept shooting them to no avail. And I was always wondering, why the hell do I do the same number of shots to the head? I count them, right? But the Juggernaut doesn't go down with the same speed. I was thinking, okay, maybe they have variable hit points. Apparently they don't. It's just this stupid thing that they had. And now they changed all of this. Now, they take greater damage if you use higher caliber firearms and power enhancing weapon modes. What it means to you is that Juggernauts are no longer have to be killed with .50 caliber. No longer is the case. That means that 50 caliber is nerfed, essentially. It's not as useful as it was before. It is now, I would argue, mostly useful against people. It's still very useful against Juggernauts, but it's not the only good solution. Now you can use 7.62 and maybe 5.56 and shotguns, especially shotguns, because of the choke buff to kill Juggernauts, and it's really, really good. When you stagger a Juggernaut, you can still keep damaging it, okay? So there's no more damage immunity for Juggernaut. It's really important. It's also a buff for Daybreak, I think, because in Daybreak Juggernauts is the only thing that can stop you in Daybreak. Let's be honest about that. And now body shots are less effective on Juggernauts, as if you were hitting their bodies. Come on, man, that's not even a serious thing to say. And headshots become increasingly more effective the more the head is destroyed. All of these things make Juggernauts an oversized pussy. Forgive me my French. Because essentially now that they don't have any... They are easier to kill. Because they take more damage from lower caliber than 50 caliber. They take more damage to the head the more shots you do to the head, and they don't have any damage immunity. Juggernauts are no longer dangerous, and you can kill them anytime you feel like it. That's really cool, I like it. Now you actually have a reason of taking any higher caliber than .22 and 50 cal, right? That's really cool. Now, and yeah, you can find it's not interesting. Heavy weapons and plague cards, I really don't care, to be honest. Now, destroying an infestation gives you a brief respite time where new infestations are not created. Very cool, right? You will be able to have a break, because clearing the infestations all the time is kind of a big pain in the ass. And now if you think about it, there's a good strategy would be, so you go on a mission, you pass an infestation, you get out, you destroy it, now you have some time of breathing, which is really cool. Now, this is an interesting change, and this is a change from State of Decay 1, really. It was the reality in State of Decay 1. And this says, when you kill a zombie from a horde of zombies, other zombies do not automatically get notified of your presence. This is interesting. Why? Well, because now you are theoretically able to kill the entire horde through stealth, and you no longer have to use Molotov cocktails or fire bombs to stop them. Very cool. Okay. When a zombie is on the ground next to a container, the priority is to kill the zombie, which is really nice. It's a good change. AI-controlled humans are now able to fire at zombies from further away. Now, this is interesting, but this automatically might mean that they can fire at you from further away. So the advice I gave about killing hostile survivors might have to be revised. And the AI-controlled humans get in the car much faster. So facilities. They remove the cost through reveal map exits. Now this is it's a nice thing if you want to leave the map quickly, but normally you don't want to do that. But now you can for free. Now checking a character into Infirmary to halt progress of his blood plague is free now. So there's no additional medicine cost, which is really, it makes the game much easier, definitely. And I have never used this thing before because it's just so goddamn expensive in terms of medicine. It's difficult to scavenge so much medicine, and it's difficult to gain so much medicine from other places, so to consistently keep your people into the sick bay. So on the highest difficulty, where death from a blood plague comes in about 10 minutes, not about, specifically 10 minutes, and even faster if you get hurt, even more after getting it, now it's not a big deal because you can, check them into the Infirmary, which is really interesting and very unusual change. It makes the game easier overall. Now, characters that are busy can still be checked into Infirmary, cool. We fixed, okay. Yeah, okay, they fixed some bugs. Yeah, I don't really care about that because you all heard about it, I guess. Now, the Ranger SUV can now be upgraded into a Smash Wagon. I'm not sure you would want to do that because I prefer the Ranger SUV over a Smash Wagon, in my opinion, right? Because I think it behaves better. I might be imagining things, so I'm not sure. But yeah, you now can, which brings a little bit more consistency to the game. About community. Now, characters with irritable traits will only start fights if they're below cheerful. And characters with traits that start conflicts will start fights only if they're below empowered, making morale even more important and making this characters easier to manage and not making them huge pains in the ass when you are focused on morale. Characters, yeah, okay, that's not important. Yeah, like some bug fixes, doesn't matter. Now, this is a cool change in user interface. Whenever you equip an item now, it goes straight... When you have your base inventory open and you equip a new item, the old item automatically goes back into base inventory, which is really cool. Before it would end up in your backpack, which was really stupid. And now it goes immediately back, which is really nice. Now, you can... Yeah, oh, nice. You can drag scroll bars in the menus if you're using a mouse. How nice. Oh, that's a cool change. Much appreciated, man. Okay. Cool. They fixed a bug when moving to a new map on Nightmare that revealed all the locations of the plague hearts. And now it's no longer the case, which is really nice. Okay. We reduce the time. Yeah, this one is really interesting. We reduce the time it takes up to load up and interact with the community screen. So before it was sometimes freezing for a moment, this should be fixed now, which is really nice, especially if you play from a weaker computer. So, yeah. So they also added us an opportunity to essentially bind several keys to the same button, which is really cool. It's especially cool if you're trying to simplify your controls, and they've actually done a really good job. The controls on PC this time around compared to State of Decay 1 are even better, and in State of Decay 1 they were already okay. I was really satisfied with them, for the most part. Now, missions. Yeah, they've buffed a bunch of... they buffed a start that you have when you skip the tutorial, but it's not a big deal. And they fixed some of the issues with the missions. I'm not going to focus on that. I don't think it's particularly interesting. They've also added they added a console-only option to the video settings called TV Display Border. So overscan. You can use it to compensate if your television cuts off the edges of the game screen, which is a really cool change if you had a problem with your TV. It's I know it's really nice because, you know, TVs can be finicky to get to work, and this is really, really nice to just have. So, they've added some problems, yeah, with players getting trapped in geometry, especially around their own parking spaces. Really sad state of affairs, but you have the unstuck command, so who cares? Prevents characters from spawning on rooftops, which is really strange and really annoying, because I had a situation where an asshole was spawned on a rooftop and I didn't have a good way to reach him, to kill him or loot the body afterwards, which was really annoying. But it's a rare occurrence, to be honest. It's a rare occurrence. But now they fixed it, so cool. Now, this is, yeah, that's not interesting. That's not interesting. They were talking about the creepy debris floating above road. So they suggested to check another game if you want to see stuff like that. So a bunch of interesting changes, and as I said before, some of these changes are very interesting. Some of these changes change entirely the dynamic of the game, and I hope I brought you some ideas about that. And one thing I didn't say about the Juggernaut change. Now, with these Juggernaut changes, all of the abilities are essentially buffed with shooting, right? Assault is better. Sharp shooting, no, it's not. Sharp shooting is the same. So assault, gunslinging, and weapon handling are all better. Assault and weapon handling because of the recoil reduction and the sway reduction. The weapon handling gives you increased durability for weapons. It's now even better because you have so much durability, but it may be redundant because you already have so much of it. And sharpshooting is so good because you can easily aim at the head and just deal a lot of shots really quickly, which is even more useful than before. And it's especially useful with a shotgun because with a shotgun, even with a choke, you still have a bunch of spread left. Now, with a sharpshooter, it aims straight at the head, and there's very little chance to miss, if any, remaining. So it's almost a completely different game now, with the amount of mechanics things that they changed, and I really appreciate them evolving the game like that. But I don't know about the durability changes. I think they were not warranted. I think they're very strange. I think they're changing the dynamic of the game. And I'm not sure I appreciate them, but I would like to test them when I have the opportunity to do so. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I hope this was insightful for you. If it was, put a like on this video, subscribe to see more, and hit that bell button down there. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you tomorrow. With an asterisk. Maybe tomorrow, maybe in a week. You know me, man. It's difficult to find time. My main job takes 11 hours a day, so you probably can imagine it's a big pain in the ass for me. It's difficult to find time to come up with anything decent and to record it, so yeah. Anyway, I'll see you when I see you. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.